Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to talk about a few topics about a lot of things that's going on at the moment. And I first wanted to start with saying right is right if nobody does it, and wrong is wrong if everybody does it. Let me start that again. Right is right if no one does it, and wrong is wrong if everybody does it. I don't know who first came up with that saying, but I remember specifically first hearing it once I attended one of my family members' graduation, and that was part of his opening speech. So it's very important that you hear that part. Right is right if no one does it, and wrong is wrong if everybody does it. I say all of that to say this, like all the topics that's been happening recently, you know, I feel like I've been screaming and shouting about these subjects in my life in particularly, which led me to be doing this video and speaking on the topics. It's a lot of different issues, guys, and I'll try my best that you guys will follow what the message I'm trying to deliver. First of all, one that's close to my heart, you know, growing children and the struggles I had and having with my teenage son, and feeling like I wasn't supported and all the rest of it. I mean, as you guys can appreciate, there's two sides to a story. So I'm sure my son has his own story, which I will never try to take that away from him, because, you know, over the years I've come to realize, even more so dealing with these struggles, that everyone sees things a different way, and maybe they're maneuvering from the way they're seeing a particular situation. Okay, I'm gonna start on that topic to say a few little things. I'm not going to go in depth around that, but I just wanted to say a few things around that topic. I wish, you know, we as human beings was treated as human being people, no matter what race you're from, no matter what background you're from, what situation. I wish we all get the same type of fair treatment, so to speak, and things were dealt with in the protocol way, like everybody's trying to say this is the policies and procedures that things need to be followed by. I wish it was accurate, or that was the case. I think even 80% would be far better than what we have to cope with, because I realize and experience that people treat things how they want to be treated. It depends on your area that you're living in, and people that's put in authorities, i.e. my topic, you know, I hope people are not taking this message personal, because this is what we tend to do. You take things personal as if we're talking about one particular person when it covers a wider scale. People speak on things because they're trying to get message across and trying to get situation to become better, not for our own pleasure. Is to avoid things happening to other persons in the future, if everybody kind of try to follow a protocol and deal with things in regards to policies and procedures, and not deal with things based on how they themselves individually want to deal with it. Because I think when you're in a workforce, you need to follow those guidelines and not go off book, you know. One example, like I said, I don't want to dwell on one topic too long. One example is, I was mentioning even recently, where there was a paperwork in regards with the social workers side of things, where they put on there that my son is a Jamaican, and I'm thinking, just like that, just the random wording, it's a paragraph, and it was like Jamaican boy, blah 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 blah, and I'm thinking, you know, why is these people writing in this context? You know, I think if people need training, they should go back and retrain. In this country, you hardly can find a job without having the qualification, which sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I could do that job, you know, it doesn't really base on qualification and all of these things. But I've come to realize that it's a good way of doing things. When you're qualified, you know, you've done some form of training to get that qualification to be within your rights to speak on a certain topic or be in a certain setting, etc. Yeah, so the wording on that paperwork, you know, there's many paperwork, but this particular paperwork was this Jamaican boy, and I was like arguing it back with him. How can you put down this Jamaican boy? Can I go to Jamaica and tell them that they're responsible for my son? No, you know, my son is a British citizen, you know, give him his right title. He's British Caribbean or Caribbean British or Afro Caribbean, whatever the title is, that, you know, but it's not Jamaican. And, you know, I was arguing this with the person and very upset and stuff like that. You know, it's based on how I see people just want to do things, how they want to do it willy-nilly in different settings, like whether you're police, you're social worker, you're doctors, nurse, etc., the teachers, the list goes on. You find, you know, this is not to put anybody in a box, but you find within that setting or system, you have some that just want to do things how they want to do it. They don't want to follow protocol. They don't want to do things the right way. And, you know, you get pushed along depending who you are, or, you know, especially if you don't speak out and say what's wrong, or, you know, and sometimes you keep quiet because of fear of maybe having them start looking at your other children or start looking into you and stuff like that. So you might not speak out, or you might be in a vulnerable situation where you're not feeling secure, whether financially, you know, there's a long list of things. But every time I try to shy away from certain topics, I go back to thinking, you know, Rose, do your best, let your voice be heard and say your piece on whatever the matter, because it's you know, there's so much stuff that's going around that's not right. And I am aware that even for the young children that's growing up into teenagers, you know, they haven't got anybody to use as example, especially for the minorities, which I don't really want to go into the minorities. I want to start talking about people as people, you know, because I realize even in, regardless of your color, you still find challenges, because the fact that you might be not well off, your low income family, you know, there's struggles all over. So I kind of want to speak general about people, and sometimes I find myself in situations where, my gosh, I'm screaming, you know, treat me as an individual, treat me as a person. You know, don't talk to me, don't talk down to me like you're not seeing me and you're seeing something else. Talk to me how you'd like to be spoken to, and say things that, not that, you know, because everybody have their own opinion and stuff like that, but just try and see me and hear what I'm trying to say to you. And in your workplace, deal with things in the right way, because, you know, it's very much, you have guidelines, you have policies, you have procedures, you have this. There should be a format in every field. There is a format that you need to follow, and don't just go off the books and do things how you want to do because you want to make that person feel a certain type of way, or you want to shut down that person, or they're not relevant, etc. If you guys are following where I'm coming from, you know. So those are the things that I've experienced, and that's been happening. There's other experiences where, back to the topic, that right is wrong, right is right, whether no one does it, and wrong is wrong, whether everyone does it. You know, there's loads of issue that's going on. Even when I saw like an interview on a news program with the young black boys, they've come and they're talking their story and their experience and saying that they never had any role model to follow, and they just probably have single parents, or parents that probably busy working, not giving them the attention that they probably needed at the time, and then they fall into a group of other young people that at a loose end as well, so they form a gang. They might feel like that's their family and they feel more secure in it, they end up doing things that's wrong, they end up in prison, or they end up, you know, going through so much stuff that probably could be avoided. And you know, here's these couple young men coming on the telly talking about their story, which is like a small, very, very, very minute group of what's really happening, you know. And when they come and they tell their story, sometimes you don't hear anything about how it gets better. They only talk about what they're going to be doing. That this is the people in authority. They might talk about how much money that's going to go into changing things, but you don't really see the change because it's happening right on your doorstep, in your home, etc. You know, I really would like to see the change. And even the fact that they cut out having topics, religion topics in school, that's cut out of schools. You go into schools, you don't really see, I've noticed, you don't see pictures of anybody, especially if you're in a minority setting. I say I wouldn't dwell on that, but that's the facts. You don't see any pictures that could relay onto your demographic, in terms of like, okay, I could look at that person and I could aim high. You know, they don't teach everybody on a balanced scale. It's like, if you're lucky, you're swimming with the best, and if you're not, you're just swimming with the sharks, really. And you know, these things that they need to change. Treat people like people, treat everybody like they're deserving, and let's have a balance, and you know, things might just get better. And another topic I'd like to touch on as well is these young YouTubers, influencers. I mean, sometimes I don't want to call name, but I have to call name, because I've watched and see where they're basing their topics on, and where they're leading other people. Because the word influence, that means you influencing other. When somebody watches you, they might be influenced to do something that you're doing based on what they've seen, the experience that you have, you know. So what I've noticed is people changing their teeth, filing down their real teeth for fake teeth, just because it's whiter. The amount of damage, psychological damage, that can do to a young person. You know, I have no problem if you're up in age, or maybe not even up in age, you're young and you have a real issue with your teeth. But promoting, filing down your God-given, genuine teeth to have something fake, that cannot be a positive direction to be leading these vulnerable children that's growing to be watching and seeing. I cannot tolerate that. And one of this particular YouTuber, sometimes I'm thinking, I don't really want to call names to be making it out like I'm trying to gain more views and stuff like that. But you know, every time I try to turn my eye away from that and not really say I'm going to do, there's 2 times I've decided I'm going to make a topic calling out the names of all these young people that I'm seeing that going off as influencer, because they have more viewers and more stature because they've worked hard towards it. Not taking that away from them at all, because I've been watching some of them from very early on and see that they have grafted to get to where they are within their own rights, that is great. But when you now go in to say, oh, I'm filing down my teeth to put in new teeth, and sometimes in my eyes, I don't really see the problem with your old teeth, and then, you know, you have a lot of influence and a lot of other people doing the same thing. I can't see where that is right. Sometimes if you have a real issue, go fix it. But then, you know, you can't have your okay, all right teeth and you're going filing them down, getting veneers, getting whatever they called, but you're literally taking away your teeth and stuff like that. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, the amount of negative thoughts that come to my mind that you might have dreams of when it comes to, you know, your own teeth and getting fake teeth and the nightmares, which she did touch on it. I'm talking about Shantania Beckford. You know, I've got nothing against you, Shantania. You're a beautiful young girl, and you know, you've been through a lot, which is great that you want to talk about it. But sometimes I feel like you might be talking about it in a way like it should excuse you from what you're doing or what you're promoting. I don't feel that's right. I feel like you can do better by setting, you know, you can't go back now and change your teeth, but don't promote it because, you know, people look up to you and stuff like that. And then, you know, you spoke about having nightmares and stuff like that. I don't think you used the word nightmares, but bad dreams before, which I can understand, because that's what I first thought that could be happening. You know, when you file down your own teeth and go and do that and get what, because they're white, which is great. I mean, my teeth, this is not the brilliantest. I could do with a bit more white teeth, but I wouldn't want to get to the stage where I'm encouraging or doing it and telling, basically saying that yeah, it is an option, but I feel like you're on young age where you haven't had any children yet, and you know, there's loads of life that you haven't lived yet. You should try and avoid promoting these type of things, because it cannot be good for people to take away their God's given teeth and have fake one. And then when you get older, you have a husband and stuff like that, and you know, there's loads of back stuff from that I can't even go into it. But you know, a sensible person would know that that's not right. Leave your own teeth alone, unless there's something majorly wrong that you're gonna have to, you know, do something like that. And sometimes people talk about, oh, it's because you haven't got the money, that's why it's... No! How can you want to take away your own God-given teeth to go and have something fake? And you know, if you have a boyfriend, you promote that, and then if you have a girlfriend now, you promote that. You know, just, you know, everybody want you just to be happy. Yeah, everybody want you to just be happy, but don't be saying when you're going through something that that's the ideal thing and it's great, which is going to be momentarily at the time. I mean, if it's long term and forever, great, but from what I've seen and what I've experienced, is momentarily. You promote certain things. Just be careful what you're putting out there, and you know, search and think twice before you put things out there, because you know, you got a lot of people that's looking up to you and will copy and will follow, and you wouldn't want a person to go through those same hardship about filing down their own teeth, putting in fake teeth, or switching partners and for the wrong reason. I've got nothing against whatever partner you may have or whatever, that's not the case, but just be careful of your delivery and what you're actually saying or promoting, because the effect might be damaging to a lot of people that's out there watching. I'm 43 years old. I've got 4 kids and 6 pregnancies, so 2 that I haven't really touched on before, but I will touch on it. And sometimes I feel like I wanted to go do something to my body, because I feel like I deserve to, after having all the children, and you know, my stomach is a great sometimes I look like I'm 6 months gone, all the rest of it, stuff like that. But you know, I was spoken to by my partner, and I actually sat down and listened. You know, sometimes we could try exercise and diet, you know, eating properly and all of these things. Let's try the long way, or wait till we at least have children. And then when he pointed out to me the dangers, which I know, you know, I wasn't thinking, like, you know, not to say that people don't do it all the time and nothing happens, but you know, the dangers and the trauma that it has on the body and the psychological damage. You know, me having cesarean and stuff like that, I know, and I did listen. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm not going to be doing anything to myself in the future, but I'm saying, guys, be very careful what you rush and push yourself into, because the effects psychologically is very damaging. So we have to be careful what we're promoting, careful what we're going into, because long term, you know, it could be very damaging for us. And what we should be promoting is love, peace, trying to, you know, it's not everything's going to go your way, but always trying to get up and dust yourself off and like keep trying, and try to be happy, try to speak your truth, not be afraid of your truth, because when you go and you tell your lies in lies, you're always going to come back full circle to want to speak your own truth, speak about what you're about, because no matter what, you're going to have to face, you know, your truth in the end. So I'll say stay very close to your truth, and if possible, just stick with the truth. And people that's going around treating people like as if they're not people, you know, just setting up the world for failure, because sometimes we just go through life, we end up not trusting anyone based on our experience and stuff like that, and we box ourselves in, and it's just a damaging world. Even though some would like us to carry on like that, I don't know what gain or benefits that is to them, but that's where things are leading to, which is very sad. You know, we should be promoting to be the truth, and that we can take people for their word, and that we can trust, you know, because trust is a big issue for me. I remember blowing things out of proportion when I'm trying to leave my son, and I have to remember that, oh, I'm leaving him with his godparents, you know, I gave that person that position, or for, you know, for a reason. So let me take the step on the plunge to be able to say that I can leave my child with that person. Just why would you do that in the first place, you know? And then you have to pattern it to think, you know, that's the same person that helped me every day. So especially when I'm in a bind, so I should be able to leave my child. Let's promote those type of positivity and trust, that we don't end up surrogating ourselves and singling ourselves out. Let's be able to take people at our words. We're not perfect, but if we try to do better and to try and keep telling the truth and stuff, hopefully we'll get to a place where, you know, we can all have laughs and hugs and want to see everybody strive and do good. You know, that's my hope, that's my aim. You know, there's so much disappointment all around. Nobody's perfect. I'm not surrogating anybody. I'm just talking about what I've seen that's happening. Let's try and treat people as people. Let's not try and treat people by their color or belittle them because of any reason, whether they're financially better off or not. Or when people come with their problem, let's try and listen, not take 5 minutes to judge them. At least try to know them, you know, and build that, see if we can base it off more than that 5 seconds. And there's nothing that's going around which I feel very saddened for, is about the same thing topic, the trust issue. When you have people close to you and they're yearning to have what you have and not yearning to have what they have, get inside your heart, search in your heart, what would make me happy. Don't yearn for other people's happiness, because that's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. I mean, you can see people that you admire and thinking, wow, I could learn something from that person, but don't yearn for their thing, because sometimes you don't know what they're really in when you're yearning for their thing, and then you find betrayal happen, also a negative. Let's try, guys, and strive for positiveness, positivity, goodness. I'm not always happy. I have problems in my life, everyday battles that I have to fight. I'm not easy work, as I sometimes tell you guys, you know. But when you have a partner or family member or friends that willing to overlook and stick with you and work together, then that's when you know you're truly blessed, and you can move on, and no matter what, you can talk things through and they'll stick with you, all the rest of it. You know, I don't get up waking up like this every morning, but you have to just be careful how much damage you do to yourself. And then, you know, society, they talk to you based on how you look. If you look like this, you might stand a chance. If you look like this, no makeup, because I was going to bring my wipes. Hold on a minute, guys. I mean, obviously you're not going to go out the road looking like this. But if they come to your house in the morning and they look like this, and you have a problem and you're talking to them and trying to explain from your side, especially if you shed a tear, the quickest thing for them to think in their mind is that you're crazy. Open your eyes, people. Give people a chance. Don't take people at face value, or wolves in sheep clothing, and you're easier to listen to a man that's dressed up in a suit, or a woman that dressed up in a suit with makeup on. Listen to the mothers that's crying out for their children. Treat people like how you'd like to be treated. Try and make good decisions in life. Don't take advantage of people. And if the story is not about you, I find even myself, you revel in it and you're willing to chat about it. But if the story, the wheels has turned and the story is about you, how would you feel? You know? And I'm doing my videos. It's on my heart even when I don't want it, because society and the energy around me saying, don't do it, Rose. Be able to be stripping back and transparent, because when it comes down to it, that's what you're going to be. Think about yourself as people. Do good and good will follow you. Open your heart when you can to do better. Sometimes I'm so bombarded with so much negative that I try to shut myself away. And I'm not willing to have a laugh, even though I want to. And I'm not willing to open myself to people. But, you know, this is the facts of life, guys. We all are humans. Let's treat each other like that. And I hope if my son is out there and watching it, eventually he'll come full circle and he'll be fine. I am willing to have the talk and I won't be blaming him for nothing. You know, as long as he's honest, I'll be honest. And I hope we'll get to the day where I can have my full line of family, because that's my heart, that's my dream. You know, I want to be able to tell my children the truth and not be judged. And I want to be able to tell my children that I don't completely know everything. And I don't have it all planned out. I am just trying to keep my family together and to grow them the best way I can. And I want good for them. And they're capable of greatness and they're capable of good. Everybody is. You just have to try and make the right decision. Don't be judged by anyone and anything. I mean, I could have gave my hair a wash and all of it, but that's the state I'm in sometimes. And I thank God every day for the partner that he put in my life that will take me with the rough and the smooth. God bless to anyone out there that's watching this video, and I hope you guys see my point every day, and I will try to, you know, whether I'm happy, I'll show it. Whether I'm sad, I'll show it. I try not to show too much of sadness, because nobody want to see somebody down every day. Be able to get up, brush yourself off and try again. Look after you. If you can't look after you, you can't look after anyone else. This is when somebody will quick to say, oh, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm showing. Try and know the person, no matter what color or race or whatever the situation may be. Try and know them first before you judge. Peace, love, and blessing to all of you. Bye, guys.